Today we are going to start with a new chapter from your NCERT of class 9, chapter 13, that is why do we fall ill. So this is a very common question, which is what are the major causes of why human beings or any animal is suffering from any type of disease or some type of mental syndrome, something or the other sort, right? So in this chapter we are mainly going to focus on why is actually when is actually a human being called healthy or not. So the first thing which we need to discuss over here is the concept of health and disease. Right? The first thing which we need to discuss over here is the concept of health and disease. Right? So what do you actually mean by being healthy? Are these two processes interconnected? What are you actually meaning when you actually use the word healthy or being in a diseased state? So these terms may look very simple because we use it daily in our day-to-day language, but the term health and disease are very complex, and a number of factors come together and their interplay together decides whether a person is healthy or he or she is in a diseased state or not. So whenever we talk about health, you all know that all living organisms are made up of multiple cells coming together forming various tissues and organ systems, right? And these organ systems then function together to make your all bodily purposes run properly. Right, so for this reason, in this context, we try to define what you mean by health. So, as you all know, that cells are the tiniest unit and they have the capacity to produce all kinds of food like proteins, carbohydrates. In these new organs, continuously new cells are being generated, old cells are being killed, depending on whatever the function is. For example, the kidney is going to be performing the function of filtering, so all the cells in the kidney are going to perform that particular function. So if all the functions are going on correctly in a particular organ, we say that this particular organ is functioning in a good way, it is a healthy organ, or this ultimately lead to a healthy individual. Whereas if any organ due to any reason, if it is not functioning properly or any of the function which it is normally performing is hindered, we say that the functioning of this organ is not happening very properly. So in this context, we can use the term disease. Now, this disease can be due to n number of factors. We usually use the term disease when we are talking about a microbial infection due to which this particular organ may not be working very properly as such. So when we talk about the health or what is the definition of health, we can say that the well-being of an individual on accounts of physical, mental, and social grounds. Right. So what are we trying to say over here? We are going to call those individuals healthy whose not only all bodily functions are working properly so that they are physically healthy, but the mental as well as the social health of that organism is of equal importance. So we can say a healthy individual is one that who is completely or is having a total state of well-being in the three areas, that is he is fit physically, he is fit mentally, and he or she is also fit socially as such. So this is the basic definition of a healthy individual. When we are talking about a healthy individual, like I said, it means basically a complete state of well-being. state of well-being which is going to be associated not only physically but mentally and socially as well. See, this is mainly important because animals are social organisms. That is, they live in societies. You might live in buildings, you might live in your houses, you might live with a group of people together, right? So all apart from this, how do these people live? For example, if you are living in an area where there is a lot of garbage being thrown out on the streets, or there is no proper drainage, no covered sewer lines are there, so these areas might not get a proper water supply. They might get fecally contaminated water, which might ultimately affect the environment in which the individual is residing. And because this environment is directly related to the person's health, we are defining health as a total well-being, that is social well-being, mental well-being and physical well-being of an organism. Now let's try to understand the second term, which is diseases. The term disease, like you can see, the literal meaning is dis-ease. It literally means a feeling of discomfort, or it is associated with human suffering. Now the suffering can be of any form, right? For example, if a person is suffering from a very chronic disease like cancer, or even a small disease like diarrhea, you might not actually know the cause of it. A person may not be, you might not know what is the cause of loose motions in that person. But the person, when we talk about the term disease, we simply say that the person is having diarrhea, which is a kind of a disease. We do not know what is the actual source of those loose motions, right? Sometimes not consuming proper food might be a cause of diarrhea, or as eating fecally contaminated food might be a cause. Apart from this, for example, there are many sports people, dancers, who require a lot of physical activity, and if they are not able to do their stretching properly, their exercises properly, they might get a feeling of unease or discomfort, right? So they are any form of suffering is basically associated with the term disease. So whenever we are talking about health and disease, the most common thing which is applied in our life is how do we prevent the transmission of transmissible diseases. Transmissible diseases are those diseases which can be transmitted from the environment due to a number of factors, and these diseases can be prevented by simply adapting to certain hygiene and sanitation in your daily life. So these practices are implemented or commonly known as the 5 Fs, right? So they are commonly known as 5 Fs. They are commonly known as the 5 Fs. So this is a smart way to remember these things in your day-to-day life. What is happening here is we are considering a simple case. If fecal matter is being present in the environment and it is contaminating all your fields or your water sources, so what can we do in our day-to-day life to prevent the transmission of disease by hygiene and sanitation practices? So the 5 F's involve fluids, fingers, flies, fields and floods. It is easy. It is fluids, fingers, flies, fields and floods, right? So both these parts are divided into two parts. One is the hygienic practice and one is the sanitation practice, of course. So when we talk about fluids, we are mainly talking about water. Now, water is a very important day-to-day fluid which we all require for all our daily purposes, like cleaning, cooking, drinking, right? So water is very, very important. One of the sanitation practices which you can practice is store this water in a clean and safe place so that it is not contaminated. Cover the water properly. It should be kept in a clean container so that you can use it for a longer duration of time. And this will also help in prevention of disease. The hygienic practice which we can follow over here is that prevent the contamination of water at the source. So this sanitation practice needs to adapt it. So if there is some industry who is just draining off its excess of chemicals, waste material, sewer lines are dumping that waste materials into rivers which are going to serve as a source of water. So we need to make sure that these are preparing any kind of food. So before eating and after eating, it is a very good practice to clean your hand 2 minutes with soaps or sanitizer. Second is washing of your hands after defecation so that contaminants are not passed on to food whenever you are eating that particular food. Next is flies. Now flies are one important vector who can transfer pathogens, disease causing microorganisms from the fields into your houses. So if you are not living in a clean environment, you are allowing water to accumulate in your parkings, puddles, potholes around you, what will happen? These flies will breed in such places. So first and foremost practice, whenever you are consuming any form of food from such localities, make sure that the food is covered. And second is, you can use any type of natural or artificial pest control methods for controlling the number of flies in those areas so that they can be prevented from breeding. The last one, the second last one is the fields. Fields is mainly associated with using, say whatever vegetables, fruits, they are usually going to grow on a field where the soil or where they might get fecally contaminated or come in association with such materials which can make them harmful. Or so the simple step is that before consuming anything in its state, you should wash the vegetables, fruits before consuming them. The next step is avoid open defecation. The government has made a number of provisions of providing some toilets, e-toilets as well as toilets in public places as well. So one should use those instead of openly defecating, because this can lead to transmission of diseases. The last one is floods. So here again, if there are no proper drainage systems, make sure you are approaching your government, local gram panchayat or municipal corporations, and please ask them to cover the drainage system so that these flies and pests don't breed there, and of course they do not come in contact with your food material as such. And if the water is being contaminated by some industries, then you have to treat that water before discharging them into the drinking water source. So these are the 5 F's which are associated with prevention of transmission of disease by hygiene and sanitation.